Game day. National Football Show with your boy Big Sills. Hit the like button. What an incredible day for sports in Philadelphia, huh? Game 5 tonight. And by the way, this just in. That was not a no-hitter last night. The Phillies didn't get any hits. Today we come up with these brand new stats. 57 guys combined on a no-hit. I don't care. I don't care. Like Schwarber says, who gives a shit? Move on. Nobody cares. Okay? Phillies didn't get any hits last night. Give me a break. You want to know what a no-hitter is? Roy Halladay. Okay? Nolan Ryan. 7 no-hitters. Watching Madison Bumgarner. One of these guys. Going 9 innings. 27 up, 27 out. Right? It's actually a perfect game. But, I mean, getting 27 outs, that's all that's a no-hitter by one pitcher. Holy cow, we come up with some of the dumbest stats on the planet. The Phillies didn't get any hits last night. It's one game. Hey, just remember this. The Astros got destroyed in Game 3. They moved on. Phillies move on. Tonight, Game 5. Okay, so nobody cares about 57 guys. You know what, JM? Seaver never pitched a no-hitter with the Mets. Isn't that crazy? I think he did it with the Reds. He never pitched a no-hitter with the New York Mets. Pretty crazy, huh? I think Gooden never pitched one either. I think Gooden pitched his no-hitter with the Yankees when he was a member of the Yankees. Seaver never threw a no-no. I think he threw a bunch of one-hitters. I think he threw a 2-hit complete game shutout in the 69 series, too, if I'm not mistaken. Okay? Dude, absolutely. Astros cheat more than Belichick. Hey, okay? How come, when you talk, Paul, when you say that, those are two of the greatest dynasties in recent memory, the Astros and the Patriots. Isn't it funny when you say that? The Astros cheat. The Patriots cheat. Oh, gee, they've kind of been to 4 of the last 6 World Series, and the Patriots have 6 Super Bowl titles. Okay, well, give me some of that cheating. Okay? Give me some of that. Matthew says, hey, Sills, did Hurts troll the Phillies last night while wearing a Houston hat? Hey, Matthew, I thought he was a Phillies fan. Huh? He's actually, he's an Astro fan, and he's under his breath going, go Astros. It's all right, but don't be a kind of a phony dude. Don't be a phony dude. Jules, what do you think your best game was in Miami? Everyone I played in. James, I don't know. But I tell you what, it was our rivalry games, though, mostly. Maybe the Penn State game I had a good one in, but we lost. I would say FSU and Florida, man. I played really great in those 2 games. Anyway, Eagles and Texans tonight. You ready for a JV game? You ready for a JV game? Holy cow. Don't forget our fabulous postgame show will be all over Eagles and Texans. And then I can hear everyone tomorrow on a Football Friday going, Sills, did you see Hurts? Unbelievable. He was 19 of 20 for 388 yards and 3 touchdowns against the Texans. Wow, you guys are killing it, man. Hey, Chris Landry today at 4:30, our NFL scout. And just a programming note, tomorrow Boomer Esiason will join us also. That'll be at 3:30. So we'll talk to Boomer and get his thoughts on Jalen Hurts. That'll be on Friday for you, too. 41-10 Eagles. We're going to talk about that game here in a minute. I do have a little bit of news for you, though. I have some news. In Sills, great connections in the National Football League. Howie Roseman has been in contact with Odell Beckham's people. Would you have interest in bringing Beckham in? Having him as the 3rd guy. How many catches does Quez have? 6? Would you bring in Odell Beckham? Here are the teams that have been in contact with Odell Beckham's people. The Packers, the Rams, the Bills, and the Eagles. You wouldn't be paying him a ton of money either. This is true. I'm not saying he's going to land in Philly. I am not saying he's going to land in Philly. I'm saying how he's kicking the tires on Odell Beckham. Would you do it? It wouldn't hurt. JM says we need a backup running back. You're not going to get that, JM. Why not get another offensive weapon? Look at what Beckham's impact was on the Rams as they made a playoff run. Hey, he was having a hell of a Super Bowl. He was having a hell of a Super Bowl. His playoffs, his game against the Bucs, he was outstanding. Paul says that knee ain't right. So we're not asking him to be a 1 or 2. You're asking him to be a 3? Can you imagine Odell Beckham lining up against the third best defensive back, and you had A.J. Brown, and you had Devonta Smith, and Dallas Goedert, and then you plug in Odell Beckham? I don't know. Miles Sanders is on pace for 1,400 yards. I don't think, Forte, that they'd put him in the punt return role. I don't think they'd put him back there because he's coming off that ACL injury. Matthew says Dallas and Niners as well. I could see that. Yeah, I could see that too. You know that the 49ers would like to keep him away from the Rams. So the 49ers are going to do what the Bears did to Claypool. They're going to do everything they can to keep Odell Beckham out of the Rams room. Why would you want the Rams to get better? You're probably going to have to play those guys potentially for the division. Right? You may face each other in the postseason too. I mean, I still to this day don't get what the Bears are doing with Claypool. Okay? Really? You got rid of 2 of your best defensive players. You weakened yourself on that side so that you could get a wide receiver for your quarterback, and you're going nowhere with it. I don't know. Again, like I said, I haven't understood a lot of things that go on in Chicago over the last couple of years. The Chicago Bears the last 10 years have just sucked. And I don't just mean on the field. I'm talking about organizationally. That's right, Freezer. Yeah, but Freezer, Dallas can afford the league minimum. Now, Beckham is going to get into a bidding war. Dude, can you imagine Odell Beckham in Buffalo? On the other side of Stephon Diggs? I'll tell you this, too. A team that desperately needs him are the Green Bay Packers. The Packers desperately need a Beckham. But here's the problem there. I mean, bro, you're going to ask him to go up and be a 1 right off an ACL injury? You think he's going to be in that kind of shape where you're going to throw 11 targets at him? I don't know. You're asking a lot. You see, in Philly, his production, you wouldn't be really targeting him a lot. But when you targeted him, those 5 catches or those 5 targets would be absolutely instrumental on moving the sticks for the other guys. A.J. Brown would benefit even more. So would Devonta. So would Dallas Goedert. Okay? Seals, Odell Beckham and Debo are close friends. Debo wants Odell Beckham to the Niners. Odell Beckham is going to maybe go to the highest bidder, my friend. Okay? He's going to go to the highest bidder. Because right now, again, coming off an ACL injury, he's not going to play for the league minimum. So we're talking anywhere between $2 and $5 million, and then incentives added to it. Somebody's going to outbid somebody for Odell Beckham. By the way, Von Miller has been contacting him too, Matthew, and trying to get him to go up to Buffalo. Buffalo and Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs, tell you what, man, that would also be another game changer for Buffalo. You put Odell Beckham in San Francisco. San Francisco becomes a very scary football team as well. Quez's speed can take the top off a secondary. Marina, Quez Watkins is not Odell Beckham Jr. He's not near the player. Just because you're faster don't make you a better wideout. And quite frankly, he's got 6 catches. I mean, we're not talking about a highly productive guy on the team right now. They should be putting his ass back there in punt returns. Get him more of that back there. How do we won't be the highest bidder for OBJ? I agree. If it gets too out of hand, I'm just saying he's kicking the tires now. You know, one thing I've learned about Howie Roseman talking to other general managers, one thing is definitely evident. He calls everybody and checks in on everything. Do you know what a general manager told me why he does that? He checks market value for particular players and gauges what that market value is for that guy and applies it to some of his players that he has on his team. So he may be calling Steve Keim in Arizona for a guy. Remember a couple of years ago, there was a conversation on Peterson, on him trying to get Patrick Peterson to Philadelphia. Well, he wanted to know what the market price is. What does he end up doing? He turns around and he gets Darius Slay. Howie does a really great job, in my opinion, of moving around and doing great things when it comes to figuring out what the market price is. Right? Quez or Odell? I'll take Odell. You keep the tomato can. That's right, man. Look, Quez is a good football player, but he's not Odell Beckham. Now, the injury issues, Cleveland, Los Angeles, they're starting to pile up on the guy. I agree with you. They're starting to pile up. Okay? And again, all I'm saying is, I'm not saying he's going to land in Philly, but I thought it was, hey, he made an inquiry about Christian McCaffrey. That is documented now. Both Adam Schefter and Jay Glazer said that the Eagles made a bid for Christian McCaffrey. That was a fact. They made inquiries about Kareem Hunt. They made inquiries about one of the running backs from the Texans. He's been out calling about, certain players and certain positions on his team. I would think, too, maybe backup tight end would be something to take a look at. Odell Beckham to the Ravens? Again, Steven, if you're asking Beckham to go in and be a 1 or even a 2, I think you're really reaching there. I mean, look at Deshaun Jackson. I thought Deshaun Jackson was going to make an impact in Baltimore. Where the hell is he? Is he playing yet? Is he active? I told you when you signed that guy, he was going to rob a bank on you. That guy's going to have no impact on your football team. This guy's stealing money. You got to always be worried about these older veteran guys talking about wanting to play someplace because you're usually looking for one more paycheck. He's on the practice squad. I told you, man, he was going to be nothing to them. John Harbaugh was asked the question, when do you think Deshaun? I don't know. We're hoping this week, maybe next. And you're like, what? You signed him a month ago. You signed him a month ago. He's had no impact. He's collecting practice squad money. I guess it's worth it because you're really not paying him anything. That's right, JM. Got to get in one game, pull a hamstring, go on IR, collect his dough, and go home and never play again. I would never have signed Deshaun Watson. Deshaun Jackson. He doesn't want to get hit anymore. I understand. He doesn't want to get hit. That's why he's going through all these hurdles right now to get back on a playing field. All right. Let's take a look at this game tonight. What do you got? Look, this is not going to be that hard to break down. Eagles versus Texans tonight on Amazon. Look, here's how you play this. It's the worst run defense. They have no offensive weapons. Get into a fist fight with them. Beat them up for about 2 quarters. They'll quit. Everybody's packing their U-Hauls up already in Houston, and they're ready for the offseason. it's got to be one of the worst run organizations too. And I like Nick Caserio. I really do. We're friends. I've known him a long time. And he's going to try to steer that ship in the right direction. The McNair family, though, constantly meddles. They get in the way. I mean, they have like fortune tellers or whomever. A lot of spiritual people like are in the building, giving them more advice than listening to their general managers on football. That's never a good combination. Look, man, I love the Lord and all, but a preacher's not going to tell me what a wide tackle 6 is. Okay? I mean, no disrespect to that, man, at all. Somebody's not going to tell me the integral parts of a 43 defense, and he preaches on Sunday. That's not going to. But they listen to that stuff more. And that's why they've been in the shape that they've been in. The McNair family does not run their organization very well. They got fortune tellers in there telling management what to do with their team. That's why the team's been in chaos for the last 4 years. If you knew Deshaun Watson had all these issues and was out there going around with masseuse and massage therapists, and he was doing all these things, why'd you give him that $180 million contract extension? If you knew all that, you still did it? And then all of a sudden, no wonder they had to settle too with 22 of the cases. Did you know that? Because they were called like accomplices in it. And they settled with 22 of the cases. You notice the league and a lot of the media people didn't bring that part of the equation up. You know why? Because they afforded Deshaun Watson the hotel rooms and some of the girls' names. That's why they settled. Yeah, the NFL doesn't tell you the whole story. They usually land on the player. Okay? They usually land on the player, but that's the Texans and how they're run. Now they got an adult in the building with Lovie Smith. Lovie's a good coach. They're going to play hard tonight. This is how I would play against the Eagles if I were the Texans. I got to play an absolutely perfect game plan against Philadelphia tonight to make it competitive. How do you do that? Well, you've got to do things unconventional. You got to make that game ugly. You got to make it ugly. Even if you play your best football, you don't have the talent to compete with them. So what do you do when you know your opponent is superior to you? You pull back and you adjust and you look at what's the biggest weakness that you have on each side of the football. Right now, the Eagles aren't showing any weakness. What would be a weakness with the Eagles? Okay, this is what I would say to Lovie. If I'm in there with my coaching staff, I would say this. You know, they don't score a lot of points in the second half. We got to get these guys in the third quarter. We got to make this game close in the third quarter because they don't really stay on the gas pedal. That's been a trend all year. See, this is what's going to start happening now because the Eagles have built an identity. And right now, NFL teams are going to start doing this. Get them in the third. Get them in the third. Showtime says special teams. There could be something to that going forward on fake punts, onside kicks early in the game, going forward on fourth down. That could be something like, yeah, absolutely. You're going to have to do some of that shit tonight. You're not going to line up in a fist fight and you're going to beat the Eagles. They're going to beat you up. You could have your best fight and they're still going to knock you out. So you've got to come up with a different angle. You've got to find every single weakness that they have on that team. Look, Jordan Davis not being in the middle there, let's test out. This is what I would, and again, I'm just showing you what I think the Texans are going to try to do. Jordan Davis is not in the rotation now. Okay. How will that affect him on first down runs? If the Texans want to have any success tonight, okay, if they want, easier said than done, GG, absolutely. I don't give them a prayer's chance tonight. But if you do have an opportunity, look, they're all NFL players. They get paid too. The Texans are going to have to win first down on runs, or they're going to have to come up with ways on making sure that they're 2nd and 4. If you're anything more than 2nd and 5, 8, 9, you're going to be in for a long night. You turn the channel, go over and watch the World Series real early. But if the Texans are going to be in this thing, you got to get it into the third quarter, and you've got to win first down on runs. You got to keep the Eagle offense on the side. The only way to hang with Philadelphia tonight is to keep their offense off the field. Because they're like a college lawnmower right now. You know, them old like Oklahoma offenses that could throw the ball, run the rock, very few deficiencies. They're especially great at running the ball. You got to keep them on the sidelines. Keep them on the sidelines. Because if you start getting back in 3 and outs, dude, they'll put 30 on you by halftime. So the Texans are going to have to win first down running the ball. Okay? Defensively, they're the worst run defense in the NFL. So the Texans know this. We're going to be in a fist fight in the first 2 quarters of the game. If I were them, I would load up, crowd the line of scrimmage, play press coverage on the corners. I don't want to die a slow death. If this game's going to be over, let's make it over early. Let's not get into something where you're going to put 50 points on me. Stop the run, which they haven't been able to do. Lovey's a good coordinator, though, man. Don't go to – watch this. Lovey Smith's a better defensive coordinator than anything Jonathan Gannon has ever been. Lovey's a hell of a coordinator. And he knows what he's doing on defense. Now, again, perfect world, there's no way on the planet the Texans can hang with this team tonight. Absolutely no way. But the only way you're going to have to do it is you're going to have to shake it up a bit. You're going to have to blitz, first down blitzes, stop the run. That exposes you. And if I'm Jalen, I'm going to be expecting that. You're going to be expecting first down blitzes because they have not been able to line up, the Texans, and stop the run conventionally. You're going to have to come up with unconventional ways and stopping the run if you're going to have any chance on beating the Eagles tonight. It's the only way you're going to get in the room. It's the only way. Now, your coaching staff, who's 16-4 since he's taken over the play calling duties, Shane Steichen's going to know this. So how is he going to combat that? Tight end, man. Right down the seam. In my opinion tonight, the guy who's going to be the important instrumental part in moving the offensive chains tonight, it's going to be Dallas Goedert. You watch. Because if you're going to load up, I'm going to have block and release all night long if I'm Jalen. Block and release, block and release. They don't have a linebacker. They don't have a secondary guy on that football team that can hang with Dallas Goedert. There's 2 complete mismatches going against the Texans, A.J. Brown and Dallas Goedert. The Texans have nobody that can cover those 2 guys. Nobody. And when you have a defense that's soft at the point of attack, you're in trouble. You've got to come up with ways to do it. I think they got 1 win now, if I'm not mistaken. Ray says the Texans need 150, 200 grounds on the ground. Not a chance. Not a chance. You're not going to run 200 yards on the Eagle defense. Bro, if that happens, it was a complete nuclear meltdown. If they give up 280 or 200 yards rushing, you have to have a come-to-Jesus conversation on Friday morning. But I don't see that happening. I just don't see that taking place tonight. Look, they got a rookie running back that's pretty decent in Houston. He's pretty decent. It looks like he could be one of like guys that make the all-NFL rookie team. But other than that, man, they don't really – Cooks isn't playing too. I don't know. Jalen isn't close to Mahomes or Allen, not even close to Rodgers' prime, ever. No one said that. Hey, I'm going to get to that here in a minute about Jalen. Okay? Eagles win, I guarantee it. Absolutely. I don't think it's any question that the Eagles win tonight. So, again, if I'm Philly, so I take care of Houston. Every time I have the ball, dude, I want 38 carries tonight. 38 carries. Let's see if they can stop the run. And they can't. Just run it at them. Run it at them. Run it at them. Don't let Jalen run a lot tonight. There's no need for it. There's no need. This is where one of you said that they could have depth at the running back position. This is where it would be nice to have a little bit more depth and have a Kareem Hunt here where you can go at him back and forth here a little bit, because tonight you're going to have to rely on Miles Sanders to stay healthy tonight. Don't lose that guy. That guy's an instrumental part in play action too right now. Guy's on pace for 1,400 yards. Dude, 13.5 point favorite. That's like college spreads. I've never seen some of these spreads like we've seen this year. Okay? I've never seen it, man. Never. Unbelievable. The only Texans can beat the Eagles is special teams. No way. I think if they got 2 touchdowns on special teams, bro, there has to be a mountain of turnovers. Mountain of turnovers. And like for the Texans to have a chance to win tonight, you got to hold the Eagles to 60 plays. You got to have like 75 plays. You have to hold them to 60 plays if you're going to win this thing. There's just absolutely no way. What's up, Rich? Appreciate it, brother. Big night for Philly fans tonight, I'll say. Game 5 of the World Series, and you have an opportunity to go 8-0. And know this also about your team tonight. I'll say this to you too. 8-0. Don't worry too much about the Texans. Texans suck. Take care of business. You know what I mean? And they have. There's been no complaints on that. Of all the teams in the NFL this year, that team does not go to sleep on its opponents every week. You know what that tells me? They're growing and learning how to win as this group. Look, there's still some holdovers from 17, but this group here hasn't won together yet. They haven't really won anything. You've won admiration. You're 7-0. You don't get any trophies for that. No parades, no T-shirts or hats, no rings. So they're learning, and every week they're doing a great job of it. Okay? What's the main thing you want to see from the Eagles tonight? Consistency. Okay? No turnovers. They've been great on that. No turnovers. Run the ball. Have a smart game. This Shane Steichen guy, he really has a good game plan. Be smart. What is know your opponent's weakness? The Texans don't score a lot, okay? You don't have to blitz a lot. Put yourself in harm's way to give up a big play. I hate to say this because it's against everything Seth Joyner and I believe. But you can play a softer zone coverage back there. They're not going to score. Why would I press coverage, have a chance that one of your corners falls down, guy gets behind him, the quarterback's good enough to find a guy, and you give up a big play. There's actually no reason. They average 16 points a game, and get this, they suck at stopping the run. I don't know. Maniac, thank you, brother. I appreciate it, man. Seals, you think Cooks is right on not wanting to play? Hey, man, you're asking the wrong guy because I want to play always. But I get it's a business now. He wanted out. He's kind of like the last guy standing from the DeAndre Hopkins and, Deshaun Watson. He wants out. The organization, Andre Johnson has said it. Terrible organization, terrible front office. Nick Caserio wasn't there when Andre was there. Andre's a former Cane, so he's a friend of mine, so I know him very well. And he's like, that's a terrible organization. Look at all the people that they've wasted careers on. DeAndre Hopkins, J.J. Watt, Andre Johnson. I mean, seriously, right? Deshaun Watson. It's a terrible organization. Terrible. Just be smart tonight with your game plan. Don't do any turnovers. You don't need to do a lot tonight. One thing about the Eagle offense that even, a guy that covers, the NFL Network and a guy who, breaks down film for the NFL Network, Greg Cosell, he said it's not a very complex offense. It's not. It's a very systematic offense. And it's pretty basic. They don't really run a lot of complex plays out of that offense. That's going to lead me to my topic here again. Okay? It's not very complicated. They're just beating you with better people. The Jimmies and the Joes are what's taking care of business for the Eagles. I mean, that's not an Andy Reid offense. We know that. That's not a Ken Dorsey offense / Brian Dable. Dable put the blueprint down for Buffalo. That's not that style of offense. Okay? They keep it as simple. When you're 7-0, you can keep it simple. Okay? You want to keep it simple. Hey, by the way, RJ, you're onto something. Now I know why Jeff Bezos wanted Thursday Night Football. So he could buy the Redskins / Commanders. Okay? You watch. It's either going to be him or Bob Iger, the former head of Disney, that's going to buy that Washington team. And I heard somebody say that I think it was D Gunn. I'm going to disagree with D Gunn. So you have a Washington team in the capital of the United States. And if you win, you don't think you're going to have a lot of political influence with people coming to your games and all the politicians that roll into your game? And if you want a new stadium and you want politicians and you start putting good ownership in there, you bring Jay-Z in, you bring Bob Iger in, you bring in some African-American owners to go part of this thing, you'll get your new stadium. You'll get your new stadium. Okay? Okay? Bezos and Jay-Z, I thought they were going to end up buying the Denver one, but they want Washington. Look at the political influence that you would have. Presidents would be coming to games. Senators, House of Representative members. That is a spectacular franchise. Eagles and Cowboys would be going into those stadiums. Okay? RFK's just sitting there, I know. In my opinion, they should blow the thing up, RFK, and build a new stadium on that site. Or retrofit it. You know what's crazy about asking citizens to build stadiums for billionaires? Look at Arrowhead. Arrowhead has been intact since the 1960s. And the Hunt family has never asked for a new ballpark. They have always had that ballpark, and it's been there. They've asked for retrofitting, which is cool. I don't know why we need, I do know why, because you want to do what Jerry does. Jerry Jones didn't build that for the Dallas Cowboys, that Jerry's World. He built it for Jay-Z. He built it for WrestleMania. He built it for tractor pulls, concerts, DNC, RNC, conventions. He built it for that. It's an economic enhancement program that the owners have perpetrated on all its fans. Your net wealth doubles almost because of those new stadiums, because they're billion-dollar operations. Okay? The Eagles are in trouble? I don't think so. Okay? I don't think so. New stadiums create lots of jobs for the trades, JM says. JM, they're seasonal. But they used to be, you're right, JM, hot dog vendors, bars, because if you're having more events, back in the day when they built those stadiums, there weren't a lot of events at those stadiums. Now, that's because they were multi-purpose. That's you had baseball and football in the same place. You don't see that anymore. All right, let me move on here. Okay? Let me ask you something about Jalen Hurts' chances to win the MVP. You know why he won't win the MVP this year? He won't have the numbers. He's not going to have the numbers that Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen are going to have. And especially if those teams win 12, 13 games themselves. He has no shot at winning that. You're not going to give. Now, if he goes undefeated, maybe that's the only way. But if he goes 13-4, or say they go 15-2, great record. 23 touchdowns, 24 touchdowns. Allen and Mahomes are on pace for 50 touchdowns, 5,500 passing yards. There's more media around them guys than there are on Jalen Hurts. Those guys put up more stats, more numbers. I'm not saying that Jalen shouldn't be in that conversation. I am not saying it. I'm saying what it's going to take for him to win that MVP award. It's not just going to be getting home field advantage. Mahomes will win that MVP or Allen will win that MVP as of right now. It's a great story what Jalen's doing. But Jalen Hurts is not going to win that MVP with 24 touchdown passes. I can't think the last quarterback ever to win a MVP throwing 24 touchdowns. Even in the MVP year that Lamar Jackson had, he threw for 33. He led the league. Okay? And you don't really, here, I'm going to say this. You don't really have a lot of Heisman moments coming up on your schedule. Texans, Steelers, right? Bears, Saints. There's not a lot of Heisman moments. This is where his schedule hurts his chances of winning the MVP. You're not going to get any love for beating the Texans tonight. I don't care what your percentage is. I don't care what your percentages are. He'll not have 30 touchdown passes. He's on pace right now for 24. He will not have. It's not how the offense is built. Like tonight. You think he's throwing for 4 touchdowns? Why wouldn't they just run the ball? He may throw for some touchdown passes tonight. I'm not saying he's not. But the game plan is to run the hell out of the ball. Christopher asks a great question. Sills, does MVP mean to you MVP to your team or MVP to the NFL? Christopher, it is totally the biggest complex question that we ask every year. Is he the most valuable person to his team, or is he the most valuable player in the league? How do you look at that? What is the parameters? When you say MVP, that means what to you? 50 touchdowns? Or importance, if you took him off your team, if you took Patrick Mahomes off the Chiefs are in the top 5 picks. If you take Josh Allen off that Bills team, they're in the top 15 picks. If you take Jalen Hurts off that Eagles team, they still make the playoffs. You're not in a very competitive conference, let alone division. And don't give me the Giants. I'm still not sold on the Giants. The Cowboys would probably win the division, and you'd be right there potentially with the Giants and the Commanders. I'm not saying he's not important, but they would still win games the way they run the ball. Jalen is totally part of that. I'm not saying he's not. I'm saying how MVP people and how they talk, how they'd say, and how they evaluate. Hey, look, like I said, this is not only going to be a conversation for Jalen Hurts on the MVP. This is going to be also at the end of the year and how you pay him. He's not going to have conventional numbers. They have customized a game. Watch this. Jalen Hurts can't go to Tampa and run Tom Brady's system. Just like Tom Brady can't come to Philly and run the current system that's in place right now. Tom Brady can't run. There's no design plays for Tom Brady. So every guy has his own unique way of running their offense. And it's up to the organization to take complete advantage of your skill set. The Eagles have done that to a T. Okay? Have done that to a T. They have built that team around that player. Just like in Dallas, this is why when people say, are you a system quarterback? Yeah, almost all of them are. You're a system quarterback because the organization puts the pieces around you to fulfill your skill set. So it's kind of like a dumb comment that the media say, well, he couldn't go anywhere else. No shit. Tom Brady's not going to Tennessee and running that offense there with Derrick Henry and no wideouts. It's not a rip. Like, watch this. Patrick Mahomes running the Eagle offense, currently the way it is, would get killed. They don't even want him doing 4th and 1s anymore. Remember he got hurt in that Titans game, missed about 4 weeks? The guy in Buffalo, in my opinion, is a maniac. He plays like Andrew Luck. That's going to take its toll on him. You know, I've said this to you guys before. I don't think Jalen really has a really big-time ceiling because of the style of football he plays. That guy in Buffalo may have a shorter one. That guy plays way too reckless to stay in the league a long time. Okay? How do you know what system he can play in? Because every system is different, jackass. Don't you see that? Every system is different. Jimmy Garoppolo's system is different. Okay? People, you're right, Tone. People don't listen. I'm not ripping them. You're not going to build Jalen Hurts into a drop-back quarterback and throw the ball. Jalen Hurts will never throw the ball 650 times in his career, ever. Same way Aikman didn't. Okay? Same way Aikman didn't. He didn't have to. You had Emmett. Okay? He calls that being a hater when every system in the National Football League is, there's not one system in the NFL. There's 32 different ones. Why is that? Because it's built around the potential quarterback's strengths and weaknesses. That's common sense. Use it. Just use common sense. If I know my quarterback is really good on getting out in the perimeter and breaking down the edges, I'm going to have designed plays. You think they're going to have designed plays in Tampa for Brady to do that? Absolutely. So what? Do you honestly think Byron Leftwich has designed runs in Tampa for Tom Brady? Yes or no? You don't even have to answer because you'll make you sound stupid when you do. I mean, really. Look at what they've done now in Kansas City. There's no design runs for him. You know, he has jailbreaks now. He completely has jailbreaks. John says this. Jalen Hurts is not spectacular. He runs a hell of a system. Will the lack of cap space prevent Odell Beckham from going to the Bills? Of the 4 teams you listed, the Birds have the most cap space. John, I don't think you're going to have to spend a boatload of money. You're going to prorate most of that money out now, right? So think about what you're going to pay him. So you're going to pay him the prorated what? League minimum? What are you potentially going to pay for Odell Beckham? 9 games? 7 games? I mean, right? I say he's going to probably get somewhere between 3 and 5 million. Someone's going to come up with that. Okay? Big Steel's getting heated. No, man, I'm trying to just talk some common sense to some of you folks. You just don't want to hear it. Stop race baiting. I don't know who you're talking to. Hopefully you're talking to somebody else. I just send Odell Beckham to the Chiefs and call it good. There, or Green Bay. I think you could see him in Green Bay. But again, I don't think they have a lot of cap room. Okay? Jalen Hurts doesn't need to throw for that many yards. He's winning with the... That's right, Philip. Philip. That's exactly what I'm saying. That's exactly right. The question will be one day, what's that worth to you? Howie might feel this. Well, we're building with a formula here. Why can't I slug someone else in there that has the same dynamics that he does, but at a cheaper price? To me, the key to winning Super Bowls today is not paying your quarterback gigantic money. Or you better have that quarterback carry you. Because look what they did in Kansas City. They said no to the $25 million for Tyreek Hill, and that quarterback is carrying that offense on his back. They really don't even have a running game. Mahomes is carrying that team and that offense on his back with good receivers, not great ones. There's no A.J. Brown on that team. But you got Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes. That's the one thing that I think separates Jalen from Mahomes and guys like Allen. Now, again, we're talking about Jalen in the same breath as Allen and Mahomes is pretty remarkable. However, if you take A.J. Brown and this is where you know the value of Jalen Hurts right now. If you took A.J. Brown and you took Devonta Smith off that Philadelphia Eagles offense, Jalen Hurts would be last year's Jalen Hurts. Patrick Mahomes would take that team to a Super Bowl. They took his weapons away. Didn't matter. He's on pace for 50 touchdowns. He's spreading the ball out more. He's hitting 9 different guys every day. He's got Kelsey too. Okay? Here, better yet, if you took Miles Sanders and you took the 2 wideouts and 2 of your linemen off the field, where's Jalen going? Mahomes is going to Super Bowl. He proves it every year. At least going to the AFC title game. You got a great play caller in Andy Reid. Chiefs don't have anything near the O-line that Philadelphia has. Your running game's better. You probably have better wideouts. Mahomes going to Super Bowl potentially. Not saying Jalen's not, but they can lose pieces and still go. They're proving it. They've lost a guy who's going to potentially be the offensive player of the year, and Tyreek Hill. He's on pace for 2,100 receiving yards. Okay? You take those pieces away from Jalen, that's how you're going to pay him too. You lose A.J. Brown I don't know. It's the same offense as a year ago. You ain't beating anybody with that. Now, Goddard's better. And Jalen's better. So you might win a playoff game. You ain't beating the Niners, though. Not without A.J. Mahomes is beating you without Tyreek Hill. You know what? That'll be a thought process when you start talking money with Josh Allen. Hey, Stephon Diggs ain't there. What are we doing here, right? Yeah, Jameson, I would never give my vote for Defensive Player of the Year to Hassan Reddick. Guy gets off the bus every 3 games. Tyreek Hill's a true weapon. Well, they don't need him in Kansas City. They wanted him. Hurts can't carry that team by himself. Allen and Mahomes can. That's the thing you have to put down on paper. And that's what I was trying to tell you about a system. There's no question. Philly has done a remarkable job at building the football team around this kid's skill set. How important is that when it comes to putting it down on paper, though? Okay? Would the Eagles still make the playoffs without him? Probably. They wouldn't be what they are now, obviously. Common sense would tell you that. They'd still make the playoffs. Minshew could probably get them to the playoffs. Now, you're not going to go as far without Jalen. But again, you start looking at value. What's he mean to that system? To that system. See, here's the one thing also you got to remember. Jalen's never going to get any more money than he is in Philly, anywhere else. Because now we have a precedent set. Do you really want to get into a contract where you can't make a move at all on the trading deadline because you're paying your quarterback $45 million? If they were paying Jalen Hurts $45 million, they couldn't get Robert Quinn. They probably couldn't get A.J. Brown. You're not signing guys like that. That's the majority of your cap on the offensive side of the football. Especially when you get tied. Look at the Cowboys. The Cowboys are losing players at record pace. Randy Gregory, Amari Cooper, players that were instrumental in making them better. I'm sorry, I don't see the Cowboys being a threat to the Eagles. I just don't. I just don't see them. I don't see them threatening Philly. Medic goes, you don't know what a person can do or not do until you see them fail or succeed. That's correct. I haven't seen Jalen do anything. It's Hurts' second season. Brady and Mahomes won Super Bowls in their second season. Let's see him do it. Be quite an accomplishment for a guy that was drafted as a seatbelt. Okay? A.J. Brown already under contract. Tyreek Hill had a contract too. He demanded out. They moved him. Mahomes had 50 touchdown passes in year 2. No question. They're going to throw for touchdown passes like that. Bill seems just fine signing him. Allen is getting paid. It's all about the GM works. It's all about putting players around Josh Allen. They're doing it. They need more of a running game. The Eagles don't need anything right now except this. The quarterback continuing to get better. And he is. The quarterback continuing to get better. You don't draft a seatbelt in the second round. Right, dude. I'm sure you were one of the guys who now want to revise history and thought that Jalen Hurts was a great pick at number 2. Right. When you just gave a guy $34 million on a contract. I'm sure they drafted him. Wow. Breaking news. Michael Thomas, Saints, and Rashad Bateman, Ravens, done for the year. Wow, does that hurt both those teams? Nobody on the planet thought Jalen Hurts was a good... Oh, you did. Of course you did. Your team just gave a guy $30 million annually. They draft him in the second round, and you think they drafted him to be a starter. How idiotic can you be in trying to revise history? Everybody in Philly, except this guy, thought it was a horrible pick. A horrible pick. Now, all of a sudden, hey, we always knew he was going to be, a starting quarterback and an MVP candidate. You did you? No, why didn't he go in the first round? You got to love people trying to revise histories. You do. It's okay, kid. Take the day off. It's all right. Why wouldn't you want to build a team around a guy like Hurts to see the progression? I would, GT, but I'm not paying a king's ransom for it because then I won't be able to continue to build a team around him. Hurts was drafted as a backup. Howie Roseman said it himself. Big Sills, I thought it was a crackhead move, if you ask me. Yeah, now look at it. Could be his greatest move. I think this thing here with Jalen may turn out to be Howie Roseman's crowning achievement. Just like, get this. Here, I'll make a comparison to you. Do you guys actually really believe that the Dallas Cowboys, when you have no control over anybody in front of you, when they make picks, even the Eagles and Cowboys traded on draft day, you think they had their sights set on Micah Parsons? They had their sights set on Patrick Surtain. They wanted the Alabama DB that the Broncos took. And then he landed on Micah. They landed on him. They didn't project that he would be this guy. The Black Line says he had to say that to make Wentz feel good. I fucking hate Wentz. What are you talking about? Cowboys didn't think Dak was the man either. No. How long did Jerry waffle on paying him? They were doing that serenade back and forth. Okay? And at the end of the day, they ended up having to pay him. Parson wanted to be an Eagle. That's crazy, man. I saw him say that too. I still don't think Dak's the man either. I haven't thought Dak Prescott is the man ever. Okay? But you see what happens is, okay? You see what happens? People do this. Pay the guy. Pay the guy. Well, you don't have to pay the guy. You don't have to pay the guy. Okay? By the way, week 9 of the NFL. Teams that need a quarterback. We are going to take a look at that, okay? Also, I got a top 5 in college football. Chris Landry from Landry Football. I'm going to ask him about the Eagle roster. I'm also going to ask him about one of the things that you and I hit on. You're not going to be able to afford all 3 of your defensive backs. Who goes? Who stays? We've broached this before. You're not keeping Bradbury and CJ. You're not. You're not keeping them. You're not going to go $15 million. 15 here. Let me find out exactly what it is. Let me find out exactly what it is. What's the franchise tag for a cornerback in 2021? Okay. It's 14.7. $15 million. Bradbury, 15. CJ, 15. Darius Slay, 15. That's $45 million. 3 dudes. You're talking to me about paying Jalen $45 million. 4 dudes. 4 dudes. $90 million of your $190 million cap. $90 million. You got $100 million to fill the rest of your team out. Oh, wait. 25 for AJ. That's $115 million. You got $70 million to fill the rest of your team. Thank God CJ's a safety. Not in his eyes. His eyes, he's doing the Eagles a favor. Because he's a corner in his eyes. He's a corner. And he would get open market value for being a corner too. And he may get more money because he's versatile. He could play both positions, safety and corner. That's a beautiful move. You know, of all the moves that Howie Roseman made this offseason, I know everyone circles the A.J. Brown one. To me, I think it's C.J. He solidified that secondary. Bradbury has to be in that conversation too. Your secondary, it's the best secondary since Lito Shepherd's group. Okay? Best. Money off the books with Fletcher and Hardgrave. So both those guys are gone. Okay? They're gone. Okay? There's $30 million. Got 50. Right, you're kind of applying money there. Matthew, hey, Sills, I think the Eagles let all 3 DBs walk and sign younger and draft a younger guy in the first. I don't think they let Slay roll. Who would you keep? Jesse? I'd keep Slay. Slay's the better of the... Boy, man, this kid CJ can play. He is a good football player. He's a really good. Wick, you got Houston winning? Whew. You mean like you're hoping the Houston Oilers come back and Earl Campbell's playing, right? And Robert Brazil's on the other side playing defense. Curly Culp and them dudes, right? Yeah. Okay. Slay's under contract now. Yeah, and that's why he's coming back, in my opinion. Bigger hold. The NFL is setting Hurts up to be the MVP. Absolutely not. The NFL is setting Mahomes or Allen up because those are the faces of the league. Those are the people that get and put out the highest ratings. Watching Jalen run RPOs is not a face of the league. No disrespect. An RPO quarterback versus what those guys do, not happening. Tonight's game, and not because of the Eagles, tonight's game would be one of the worst viewed games on the Thursday night schedule. Texans, I mean, Jesus, why don't you make it at least the Giants? It's not anything to do with the Eagles either. You put the Texans with the Eagles on Amazon Prime a brand new streaming service, and you put the shittiest game of the year on. Good luck. And Game 5 of the World Series. Gotta love it, man. Why in the world would you do that? Nobody's going to check that game out unless it's us. Right? Why didn't you at least put the Giants on with them? Make it the divisional games. Thursday night, remember they used to put the divisional games on? Texans? You know what kills me also about some of these primetime games? Wasn't it an honor to get on primetime like you had to be a winning team to get on primetime television? Don't put any stiff on now on primetime. There's guys that never played Monday Night Football in their entire careers that I know because their teams weren't good enough. If you're a shitbag team like the Texans, you can get on a primetime game or in a primetime slot on Sunday Night Football or a Thursday night or even on Monday night. You know, I think they've changed the Monday night schedule around because Buck and Aikman are calling the games. Allen and Mahomes are the face of the league right now. They're taking over for Brady and Rodgers. Peyton Manning and Drew Brees are out. Those are your two new guys. It ain't Jalen Hurts running MRPOs and 22 passing touchdowns. These guys are throwing for 5,500 yards and 50 touchdowns. Nobody's doing that. It's okay, though. Troy Aikman laughed his way to 3 Super Bowls doing that. Dan Marino was throwing for all the yards on the planet. Dan Marino put all those yards up. Didn't win shit with it. Troy Aikman won 3 Super Bowls. Who cares? Who cares? Right? All right. Hour number 2, week 9 of the NFL. Chris Landy, I'm going to ask him about the Eagle roster. Robert Quinn as well. He is a former NFL scout. He's worked with numerous teams. I've known Chris Landry a long time. He'll be at the bottom of the hour. Please hit the like button. Keep it right here on the National Football Show.
Go to get your game on. Go for the beers. Go for the cheers. Go for the hit and the hits. Go for the stakes and the stakes. Go to get your parlay on. Go to get your party on. Go for the scene. Go for the screens. Go for the gallery. Go for the win. Go to Ocean. Visit theoceanac.com to plan your visit.
Since 1977 at Rafferty